Hey guys! So, continuing my Cannes Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm going to be talking about the channel is the big ticket item of this year's festival. It is, of course, the highly anticipated new film from Martin Scorsese called Killers of the Flower Moon. Based on the best-selling book by David Grant and adapted by Eric Roth and Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon is centered around a true story which took place in Fairfax during the 1920s when hundreds of indigenous Native Americans that belonged to the Osage tribe were killed off in a series of calculated murders in order for rich, white, opportunistic, capitalist men to steal the oil and land rights that the Osage people had. It's these grisly events which transpired to the Osage community which triggered J. Edgar Hoover's establishment of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This long-awaited film from Martin Scorsese is a harrowing tale of greed, power, and trust. All at once, it's a sprawling crime epic and an effective love story. Oh, and it's also a masterpiece. It's hard to believe that in the almost 60 years that Martin Scorsese has been making films, that Killers of the Flower Moon is his first ever Western. But it's not difficult to see what attracted Scorsese to the project, given the story's true crime elements, the gangster-like sensibilities, and complex characters caught between different loyalties. All of this was familiar terrain for Martin Scorsese. Clocking in at 206 minutes, that's 3 minutes shorter than Martin Scorsese's longest film and previous film, The Irishman. Those that were concerned about the daunting runtime need not worry. This was one of the breeziest 3 hours I've ever spent in a cinema. Longtime collaborator and editor of Martin Scorsese's films, Thelma Shoemaker, does a wonderful job of keeping the viewer engaged with page-turning excitement and intrigue. So what is the plot of Killers of the Flower Moon? Well, during the earliest days of the 20th century, the First Nation natives became incredibly wealthy almost by happenstance. Their allotted reservation of land, which many deemed to be barren, just so happened to be sitting on top of these massive oil pockets, which made them become some of the wealthiest people in the entire country. Their affluence put them at the top of the sociological pyramid, meaning that they could hire local white people to do the labor jobs like gardening, or being their servants, or being their nannies, or in the case of Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Ernest Burkhart, a chauffeur to the well-to-do Molly Kyle, who's played by Lily Gladstone, who, along with her sisters, is the heiress to her mother Lizzie's vast oil fortune. Much like his portrayal of capitalistic Jordan Belfort in Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street, which incidentally was the last time that DiCaprio and Scorsese made a movie together, it was like a decade ago now, Ernest is also a money-driven fiend, only not as capable as Jordan Belfort. He's actually kind of an idiot, which is not something we usually see DiCaprio play, but DiCaprio plays him so well. Ernest's initial intentions with Molly are financially opportunistic, but over time, a genuine mutual affection blossoms between the two of them. But it's Ernest's cattle farmer uncle, William Hall, but you can call him the King, played by Robert DeNiro, who is a self-proclaimed friend and pillar of the Osage community, who spots his nephew's budding romance with Molly as an investment. King is playing a long game of Monopoly on the Osage community, finagling his own nephews into marrying into the wealthiest native families for his own gain. Oil is thicker than blood after all, and far more lucrative to the king. So even his own family members are pawns that he is happy to sacrifice in order to secure the Osage's land and oil rights. It is a masterfully Machiavellian performance from Robert De Niro, one which manages to be somehow both warm and cold simultaneously. And despite often his disturbing actions, De Niro somehow manages to be both darkly funny and, dare I say, likable. It is truly captivating work from Robert De Niro, and his wolf in a sheepskin performance will go down as one of his finest ever. Leonardo DiCaprio is also at the top of his game here as the multifaceted Ernest. Like, his performance only gets more and more riveting as he sinks deeper and deeper into his uncle's schemes. As more Osage members are slaughtered around him, DiCaprio conveys through his eyes and facial gestures a wealth of internal conflict that's swirling around his head and his heart. DiCaprio has no shortage of standout moments in this film, but equal praise needs to be given to Lily Gladstone, who plays his wife Molly. Despite being less established than her screen giant co-stars, Gladstone manages to shine brighter with a more subtle and graceful performance. Gladstone has this magnetic screen presence, one that grabs your attention without even trying all that hard. As a counterpoint to Ernest's motor mouth, who just never shuts up, Molly is very selective with the words she chooses, she's very comfortable in the silence, and because of this, it creates a yin and yang chemistry between the pair of them. There is so much for Gladstone to sink her teeth into in this, because Molly's story is one of staggering tragedy, grief, and betrayal. When Scorsese shifts the perspective to Molly, we feel the magnitude of her loss as more of her family members are killed in calculatingly gruesome fashion, and also the frustration that she feels when the authorities don't do anything about it. It's only when the death toll of our Indigenous brothers and sisters reaches hundreds that FBI agent Tom White, played by an excellent Jesse Plemmons, steps in to try and stop these killings. From a technical standpoint, Killers of the Flower Moon is a masterclass in quality filmmaking. Every department impresses. Whether it's the abundance of detailed costume work from Jacqueline West or Jack Fisk and his impeccable production design, which boasts some majestic grand exterior sets as well as some sinister interior sets which are expertly lit by cinematographer Rodrigo Pietro. The dark corners of Ernest and Molly's house really represent the cancer that has spread through the Osage community. Robbie Robertson's score is also a highlight. His opening rock and roll track starts the film off on a very stylish note when we see this surreal sequence of some indigenous natives dancing in slow-mo as oil showers up from the ground. Robertson also incorporates tribal instruments into his score in order to pay tribute to the First Nation natives. Scorsese's direction is effortlessly dynamic with some truly spectacular swooping crane shots and tracking shots which are just executed with calm, measured precision. He actually collaborated with Indigenous Americans to help create this film, so it felt more authentic. A lot of people are going to want to talk about the finale of this film, and for good reason, because it definitely packs a punch. I'm not going to go into the specifics about it, but as I was watching it, it kind of felt like a creative compromise that Martin Scorsese came up with in order to keep the film's runtime under 3.5 hours. Without spoiling it for you, this epilogue scene provides us with much needed closure on what happened in the aftermath of all these events, and it does it in a very original, clever way. It also illustrates how near and dear the ongoing struggle of Native Americans is to Scorsese himself. Some people are going to say that the ending is a bit self-congratulatory of him, but others are going to defend Scorsese and say that it's a dignified mark of respect. But regardless if you like it or not, the message truly sinks in as you leave the theater that America has turned a blind eye to one of the most insidious injustices of its history. That so many Native Americans were murdered in cold blood just so that entitled white supremacists could reign supreme. It really is a thought-provoking piece of cinema. Now we have to talk about its Oscars chances, and I'm going to say this now. Killers of the Flower Moon is going to be a contender. Like, this movie is going to get heavily nominated. I guarantee it. As of right now, Killers of the Flower Moon is my #1 for Best Picture, but it's so early in the race that, we're gonna see some other films come up, and you never actually want to be the early frontrunner of the Oscars anyways, but it is definitely gonna be a contender for Best Picture, and obviously the director for Martin Scorsese. As for performances, it has to be locks for Leonardo DiCaprio in Best Actor. Robert DeNiro, even though he's kind of a co-lead, I think he'll go supporting, and he probably has a decent chance as well. Like, it could be a very much deserved, triumphant third Oscar win for him. And obviously, Lily Gladstone needs to get into, I'm gonna say supporting actress. I feel like she is a lead, but I feel like she might have a better chance in supporting. We need to wait and see how she goes, but Lily Gladstone has to be nominated for this. It's just a performance of such depth and tragedy and power, and she is just so good in it, and understatedly as well. People have been asking me if Jesse Plemons might be able to get nominated for his supporting role. His screen time is significantly shorter than the others that I've just mentioned, but he is really good in it, and if he can get in for The Power of the Dog, which wasn't a guarantee back then, I'm sure he could get in sort of like off the coattails of like Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio as well. They might just go all in on Killers of the Flower Moon for Oscar noms. Some are asking, could Brendan Fraser show up? No, he's good in the movie, but he only has like maybe 8 lines of dialogue in the whole movie, and he's wonderful, but yeah, he's not going to get nominated for this. Sorry. It's just not a substantial enough part to justify an Oscar nomination. So yeah, what else might get nominated for? Well, costumes, production design, cinematography, and editing feel pretty likely, I'm going to say. And then there's the score as well by Robbie Robertson. Fantastic. It's the best score I've heard so far this year. And it's not out of the possibility that it could get nominated for sound. Like, the final scene in particular incorporates a lot of sounds, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but yes, it's, yeah. Because it's the last scene, it might leave a lasting impression on people that, oh yeah, I did like the sound in Killers of the Flower Moon, so it could get nominated in sound. But yeah, am I leaving anything out? If I've forgotten something, do let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, this film is going to be a player at the Oscars. How many of it can it win? Don't know, it's too early to tell, but you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once came out super early and did triumphantly well last year. Could Killers of the Flower Moon be this year's Everything Everywhere? Well, I've just heard me say that out loud, and it sounds ridiculous comparing Everything Everywhere to Killers of the Flower Moon. But yeah, how many Oscar nominations do you think Killers of the Flower Moon is going to get? I'm guessing at least 10, maybe more. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch it again? Absolutely. Not lying, this is in my top 5, maybe even top 3 of Martin Scorsese's films. Can't wait to own it, add it to the wall. But yes, it's truly a magnificent, thought-provoking piece of cinema that I can't wait to watch over and over again. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Oh my god, yes. Go watch it in a cinema, guys. Like, this is like top-tier Martin Scorsese. And it seems so generous of the universe to give us a movie which features 3 titans of the cinema, Scorsese, DeNiro, and DiCaprio, all giving some of their best work ever, as well as a star-making performance from Lily Gladstone as well, okay? Like, go treat yourself, watch it in a cinema, okay? This is cinema, okay? And you're just gonna be blown away by the majesty of filmmaking, the quality, yeah. Don't miss it in a cinema, guys. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. And third question, what score to give out of 10? I think I've already said, it's a masterpiece. I just loved it. I was so captivated watching this movie, and yeah, Martin Scorsese doesn't get older, he just keeps getting better. So yeah, I'm gonna say Killers of the Flower Moon gets a score of 10 out of 10, and not only that, it is absolutely 100% a movie that everybody should watch at least once before they die. Haven't said that in a long time, but yes, it's true. Do not miss this movie. It is that flipping good. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I do want to hear from you. Are you excited for Killers of the Flower Moon? Have you seen it? If you have, what did you make of it? Let me know what you think of its Oscars chances in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, help me out by hitting that little thumbs up button. If you want more movie, TV, Oscars, and camera-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. And as always, for more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Harefield, and I'll see you next time.